Good morning, everyone. It's another beautiful day and another day for the Course in Miracles. I hope everyone is well. Lesson for today is lesson 72, and let's get right into it. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. While we have recognized that the ego's plan for salvation is the opposite of God's, we have not yet emphasized that it is an active attack on his plan and a deliberate attempt to destroy it. In the attack, God is assigned the attributes which are actually associated with the ego, while the ego appears to take on the attributes of God. The ego's fundamental wish is to replace God, and in fact, the ego is the physical embodiment of that wish. For it is that wish that seems to surround the mind with the body, keeping it separate and alone, and unable to reach other minds except through the body that was made to imprison it. The limit on communication cannot be the best means to expand communication, yet the ego would have you believe that it is. Although the attempt to keep the limitations that a body would impose is obvious here, it is perhaps not so apparent why holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. But let us consider the kinds of things you are apt to hold grievances for. Are they not always associated with something a body does? A person says something you do not like. He does something that displeases you. He betrays his hostile thoughts in his behavior. You're not dealing here with what the person is. On the contrary, you are exclusively concerned with what he does in a body. You are doing more than failing to help in freeing him from the body's limitations. You are actively trying to hold him to it by confusing it with him and judging them as one. Herein is God attacked. For if his son is only a body, so must he be as well. Excuse me. A creator wholly unlike his creation is inconceivable. If God is a body, what must his plan for salvation be? What could it be but death? In trying to present himself as the author of life and not of death, he is a liar and a deceiver, full of false promises and offering illusions in place of truth. The body's apparent reality makes this view of God quite convincing. In fact, if the body were real, it would be difficult indeed to escape this conclusion. And every grievance that you hold insists that the body is real. It overlooks entirely what your brother is. It reinforces your belief that he is a body and condemns him for it. And it asserts that his salvation must be death, projecting this attack on God and holding him responsible for it. To this careful, prepared arena, where angry animals seek for prey and mercy cannot enter, the ego comes to save you. God made you a body. Very well, let us accept this and be glad. As a body, do not let yourself be deprived of what the body offers. Take the little you can get. God gave you nothing. The body is your only savior. It is the death of God and your salvation. This is the universal belief of the world you see. Some hate the body and try to hurt it and humiliate it. Others love the body and try to glorify it and exalt it. But while the body stands at the center of your concept of yourself, you are attacking God's plan for salvation and holding your grievances against him and his creation, that you may not hear the voice of truth and welcome it as friend. Your chosen Savior takes his place instead. It is your friend. He is your enemy. We will try today to stop these senseless attacks on salvation. We will try to welcome it instead. Your upside-down perception has been ruinous to your peace of mind. You have seen yourself in a body and the truth outside you locked away from your awareness by the body's limitations. Now we are going to try to see things differently. The light of truth is in us, where it was placed by God. It is in the body that is outside us It is the body that is outside us, and it is not our concern. To be without a body is to be in our natural state. To recognize the light of truth in us is to recognize ourselves as we are. To see ourselves as separate from the body is to end the attack on God's plan for salvation and to accept it instead. And whenever we plan and wherever His plan is accepted, it is accomplished already. Our goal in the longer practice periods today is to become aware that God's plan for salvation has already been accomplished in us. To achieve this goal, we must replace attack with acceptance. As long as we attack it, we cannot understand what God's plan for us is. We are therefore attacking what we do not recognize. Now we are going to try to lay judgment aside and ask what God's plan for us is. What is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. Then we will wait in quiet for His answer. We have attacked God's plan for salvation without waiting to hear what it is. We have shouted our grievances so loudly that we have not listened to His voice. We have used our grievances to close our eyes and stop our ears. Now we would see and hear and learn. What is salvation, Father? Ask and you will be answered. Seek and you will find. We are no longer asking the ego what salvation is and where to find it. We are asking it of truth. Be certain then that the answer will be true because of whom you ask. Whenever you feel your confidence wane and your hope of success flicker and go out, repeat your question and your request, remembering that you are asking of the infinite creator of infinity, who created you like Himself. What is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. He will answer. Be determined to hear. 1 or perhaps 2 shorter practice periods, an hour, will be enough for today, since they will be somewhat longer than usual. These exercises should begin with this. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Let me accept it instead. What is salvation, Father? Then wait a minute or so in silence, preferably with your eyes closed, and listen to His answer. Okay, so that's today's lesson. Let's read it again. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. So here we go. Grievances again. Remember, a couple lessons ago, I looked up the meaning of grievances, and it was about a belief that something was done wrong to you, or injustice was done, or it was a belief, something that you conjure up in your mind, not necessarily the truth. So grievances are something that's not necessarily truth. It's what you believe is true. So if it's all a belief, it can be changed in your mind. If it's only something that is something you think, then it means that you can change your thinking. So if we are constantly thinking and believing that grievances are being done to us, then we are not allowing God's plan to move forward. And in reality, we're attacking it. Now, how are we attacking it? Well, because we attack others. We attack those that we are blaming for the grievance. Let's say, for instance, if I'm saying that this particular person did something to me, and they are not a good person because they did this, I am already judging them. I'm already putting them in a place that God would never put them in. You know, they're whole, incomplete, peaceful, filled with love, but I see them as a bad person, a bad individual. They did something not good, and I'm attacking that person. And sometimes the grievance can be against yourself. So not only do you attack others, but sometimes you attack yourself. And so that's even a bigger grievance if you really think about it, because now you're attacking your own being, which God sees as whole and complete, and you cannot see it as whole and complete, and so you destroy the ability for you to see yourself as whole and complete and all loving and peaceful and filled with love. So what the course is telling us today in this lesson is that we constantly do that. We hold grievances, and we believe that we are the body. We are so focused on thinking that our human experience is what is it. That is who we really are. And so in doing so, we lose focus of the truth. And we all do it. We all get stuck in our experience. We all get stuck in the either happy emotions we're feeling or sad emotions we're feeling, and we're just there. We only allow that to come into our minds, and we don't allow God and His plan to come forward. And the reality is that we created this body. God didn't create this body, but we attribute that creation to Him. We make it His responsibility, and we make Him also responsible for our death, because our body is going to die, and everything that is around here in our existence is temporary, and we attribute everything that's here to Him, His creations. But in reality, it was our creation. What He created is not what we see with our eyes. What He created is what we can see with true vision, which we do not have the ability to do right now because we're so focused on the body. If we were to see truth with real vision, we would see that nothing is destroyed and everything lasts forever. What everything really is, which is just love and peace and happiness. That's what lasts forever. But we fail to see that because we are so focused on the experience, the body. We see a person and we say, that's a person, that's another body. We don't see a person and say, oh, look at that wonderful spirit. We don't say, what a wonderful child of God. No, we say that's another body, and that body's name is so-and-so. We're just looking through our perception, through our eyes, through our judgment, and we're not seeing what really is in front of us. So, in essence, we are attacking God's plan. God's plan is not that. God's plan is not for us to focus on body and what we see with our human eyes, which is part of our body. So, that's what the lesson is trying to focus the idea on that today. And so it's asking us for 2 practice periods, one long one, where we're supposed to say this or ask this question. What is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. And then close your eyes. Stay there for a moment and try to listen. Try to listen to something coming quietly and then maybe even loudly into your mind saying, this is what salvation is, my son, my daughter, my beautiful, wonderful creation. This is what salvation is. Wait for that. Keep your eyes closed, and if you need to, keep repeating that in your mind. What is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. And you might not hear it right away. It might take some time. It might take some practice. You might need to do it more than once. But try it. And you might hear it. And it will bring you feelings of love and peace and happiness. And that will be the long practice period. Then the Course also tells us today, the lessons, to have several shorter practice periods throughout the day, to an hour if possible, with your eyes closed as well. And repeat this. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Let me accept it instead. What is salvation, Father? Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Let me accept it instead. What is salvation, Father? So you say that with your eyes closed, and once again, a little bit shorter, you wait for an answer with your eyes closed for a minute or so. You might get it, you might not, but at least in that moment, you're focusing on God. You're focusing on trying to listen to Him. How often do we do that in our regular lives? If you were not doing these lessons, ask yourself, how often do you close your eyes and wait for God to speak to you? Wait for God to guide you. That's something that we should be doing. That should be part of our daily lives. So make it a purpose to make it part of your daily life, to focus on God. Quiet your mind for a little bit, close your eyes, focus on Him, and ask Him to guide you. Ask Him to tell you what is His plan for salvation. And when you do, there will be peace and happiness in your heart. And what you see will transform in front of you. You will see differently. The more you practice and the closer you get to Him, and the more that you change how you view things, the more things that you view change. So, this was another beautiful lesson for the day. Try your best to do it. Thank you for joining me in my journey. I wish you all the best. I hope that today is filled with love, peace, and happiness.